let's talk about spherical panos and a simple way to capture and produce them. First of all, you're going to capture them while you're up in the air and you find a good place with something down below you that looks kind of neat, like this marina in Long Beach. Alright. Then I tilt it up, and if you notice, I tilted up to where my propellers were and then tilted back down below the propellers so you can just see them in the tip of the picture up here. And that's fine if you can see them up there. Okay? The lens curvature straightening that we're going to do is going to take the very edge of the picture out. So this is okay, and you're going to have a lot of sky, which is very desirable in this type of picture. So trim your picture to where your pano starts and ends, and then grab it and bring it down in here into the sequence in Premiere. This will give it to you in this window over here, and you can just work with that section of the video that you want to. You're going to play your way through here a little bit and find the beginning of it and export a shot as a TIFF. You're going to make sure you put it in the right directory that you want it in, which is our tutorial pano directory, and that's okay. So it's our first shot. We're going to wait until this section here, about 30% in, gets all the way around. We're going to stop it. We're going to take another shot. We're going to do about a 30% overlay. Pick something about a third of the way into the picture, this building right next to it here, and we're going to watch it go all the way around. And as it gets right next to the edge of the picture, we're going to stop where it's here. We're going to take a snapshot. We're going to keep doing that, finding something that's about a third of the way over. We're going to watch it, and we're going to continue this until we get all the pictures that we need. When you get to the second rotation, it's going to go down about 50% for an overlay there. And you're going to want to capture the first frame and do the same thing, looking at 1/3 over, go all the way around, and pick out the next frame. Look for something about a third of the way over the picture, halfway up, until it gets over to the edge. Take your shot. Third of the way over, right around here, about halfway up. So somewhere in here. I'll wait till that gets over to the edge of the picture and take our shot. Around a third here. It's all the way around. It's about where we started again. Now we're going to go down and get some straight down shots. The straight down shots matter because you want to get them in orientation that's going to look really good on your spherical panorama. I'm going to take this orientation and this one right here. Those are the only two I'm going to take because that's the only positions I want to look good in. Now, I've exported those all into a directory that Lightroom is familiar with and that I already have other images in. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to that directory and say synchronize folder. We have 13 new pictures to import, and we'll synchronize those and bring them in. Now to do your processing, pick out your most important image, the one that you want to be top dead center, and develop that the way that you would like it to look. And I know that a lot of these have too much exposure. Just going to quickly go through the things I normally do here to bring my picture in. One of the things you have to really make sure you do when you're doing this is skip all the way down here to the profile corrections. Click for GoPro Hero 4 Black Edition. Make sure you get that in. That's the most important thing that you're doing here. You're also doing some processing on the TIFF because it's going to come out as a JPEG, and you won't be able to process that as nicely as you can this. So make it look the way you want it to, and then select all of your images down here and just synchronize them. Get them all looking the same. Now, to use them in AutoPano, we're going to export them. I know that you can edit them in and edit in AutoPano, but that creates copies anyway. So let's export them for simplicity, and we're going to put them into a place called Long Reach Grand Prix Pano. Okay, and we'll actually create a new folder in there called Pano 2 just to make sure, because I'm not sure if there's anything in that directory right now. So let's export those. It'll take just a couple of seconds. And while that's exporting those 13 files, I'm going to open up AutoPano, which is the program I use to stitch more difficult things than Photoshop is able to do. What you do at AutoPano is you come to the File menu, you hit Select Images, you find that Pano 2 directory we created, select all the images in it, that should be 11 of them, bring them in, 13 other images, bring them into AutoPano, and hit Detect. APG is now going to do the key point matching and sorting to figure out where these pictures go in a panoramic. It's going to give it to you in this form. So what we're going to do here is we're going to hit Edit and bring this into a mode where we can work with it. Now right now we have the sun dead center. That's not going to be the center point of what we want to see. So why don't we take this and we're going to hit the Move icon, Move Images mode. We're going to grab the panoramic and we're going to move it so that the center of the panoramic is what we want it to be. All right, we want it to be that, and we want it to look, yeah, right about there in the middle. This over here is a button called an automatic horizon. This will flatten it out for you a bit. You may have to make some manual adjustments to flatten it out right if your horizon is not truly flat. That looks pretty good. Now, let's take it into a different projection mode and make that tiny planet that we're looking for. It's called Little Planet in APG. If you do that, boom, we've got our panoramic made already. Well, not quite. This is the preview. It's time to render it now. And it looks pretty good. You can zoom in here and see the stitching is fairly good. I don't want to really move it around much because it looks really beautiful this way. There is something that we can do though. I was hovering over the marina and the object is take picture of the racetrack over here. If I put this in a move mode again, I can actually move it so that the racetrack looks bigger, is more predominant in the panorama. To do that, just grab it at the top and pull up on it a little bit, and you'll get that look that you want. This more so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm dragging it up a little bit like this to make it more exaggerated. That's going to bring your center of gravity or your center of the picture a little bit further up and make it look like you were flying in a different place than you really were. It's also going to warp the outside so you can't get this in the center as well. So maybe not so much. Right about there. Let's take it to the rendering mode now. And the things you have to be careful for here, you want to check the DPI is 300 and not the 72 that it comes to by default. If you want to do any printing or something, this 300 DPI is really going to make a difference. 72 DPI is what your screen DPI is at. And if you're just going to look at it on your screen or post it to social media, that might be fine. This will tell you where the file is going to end up at the end. And we want it to go back into that directory that Lightroom knows about so I can import it back into Lightroom and play with it there. So I'm going to select the folder that belongs. We'll render it. And once that's done, we'll bring it into Lightroom, fix it up, crop it, and we'll be done. So let's open Lightroom now that it's done rendering. Go down here to the directory that You put it in, say synchronize folder. There's our one additional image. We'll bring it into Lightroom, and we'll be able to work with it in here. Go into develop mode. You can play around with it and get it just the way you want it. Like that. Now I'm going to bring it back into Photoshop as a smart object so that I can heal these corners and make them look okay. Lightroom just doesn't do a very good job with black corners. Here we are in Photoshop with our aerial panorama in a little planet projection, and we're going to try to take care of these corners here, which are black and not very aesthetically pleasing. So we're going to look for the healing brush, 21 pixel right there. Still waiting for and rasterize the object so that we can do this. And then we're going to start painting in these black areas here and that. All right. When you're done, just click Save, and Lightroom should pick it back up as a new image. And here we go with our finished image of Long Beach and the marina. And it all looks pretty good to me. So we'll export that and be able to use it. Thank you for watching the Whirling Tripod tutorial on spherical panos. Enjoy your flying.